everyone, my name is Drew Staples and I'm going to be showing you guys a quick video on how to get started with Pandas. So if you guys aren't familiar with Pandas, Pandas is used for data framing in data science, machine learning, deep learning. It's very, very important with dealing with data and analytics. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started really quick. So if you notice, I have the Google page open up, so you just go ahead and do that. Just open up a new tab. Just type in Google Colab. Go to the first link. Now, if you're not familiar with Google Colab, go ahead and make an account if you don't have one already. And then when you come back into it, you should see a page like this. Okay. So you notice I got all these different projects, I got all these different files, all these different notebooks saved. So don't pay attention too much of this. So, as you build up your projects, you'll see more stuff building up. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going down here to New Python 3 Notebook. All right, awesome. Okay, so the first thing you guys are going to be doing is going to runtime. Go down. Change runtime type. Now, if you have under runtime type, you have Python 3. If you want to, you can change it to Python 2 if you need to. And then under the hardware accelerator, if it's set at none, which it's always defaulted at, it's running on the CPU. So go ahead, and it's always just good practice. Just go ahead and go to the GPU. And then also you notice we have the tensor processing unit right there as well. So just go to the GPU. And now you are currently running on the GPU. And this is your virtual environment. So the first thing we need to do with this problem that we're going to be working with is uploading our file, uploading our data set. So if you didn't notice, I clicked on this little arrow right here. So just click on that and then go to Files. And then it's saying it's connecting to a runtime to enable file browsing. So it's initializing. And then boom. Okay, so I had this saved from an old file that I had. Let me go ahead and just delete that really quick. I'm gonna bring that back up. Okay, so that was actually because the thing is I made this video before and I ended up not liking it, so I'm like re-recording this. That is why like that file showed up. Normally though, after some time, when you go back into your virtual environment, that file will not be there. Okay, so and a message is going to show up too when you upload a file. So that's what we're going to do. Alrighty. Where is it at? I got a bunch of different files. I don't know if you can actually guys see this, but right now I'm scrolling through my my local storage. I'm looking for a certain data set. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to choose this one from the University of California. Okay, so yes, you see this window pop up. Reminder: upload of files will get deleted when this runtime is recycled. So you just hit OK, and then also I got my file on here now. So how did I even get this file on here? What I did was you just go to any website, Kaggle, GitHub, just any one, and then you're just going to download it. And then I actually upload this from my local storage. So you guys might be able to see it, but as soon as you hit upload, your local storage folder is going to open up and it's going to allow you to upload a file that's in your local drive into Google Colab. Okay, so now that we have our file here, which this right here is from the University of California in Irvine, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a lot of different data sets, so you guys can go ahead and check those out too. They're pretty cool. So the first thing we're going to be doing is, just as as courtesy for ourselves, for if we were to look at this in the future, or for anybody else looking at our code, it's always important to have comments. So comments should just give a description of what our code's going to be doing. So I'm not importing pandas. And if you're not too familiar with pandas at this point, which you might not be, you could just like type in like what it does, like a quick reference. So like I said, first thing you're going to be doing is import pandas. So you're going to type in import pandas as PD. Now what this as PD means is PD is a placeholder for pandas, meaning that anytime we use pandas, any sort of tool within the pandas library, we don't have to keep typing pandas. We could just type PD instead, and so it'll be a lot less verbose, which is beneficial to everybody. So go ahead and hit Shift Enter. This will run and a new coding block will open up, and if there was something wrong with this, then an error would pop up. So let's go ahead and break this. I'm just going to type in an M, Pandas. So you can see that there's an error there. No module name Pandas. So sometimes it's good to break your code in certain places just to know where your error is going to be at. And just to also get yourself, better with debugging. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be bringing this file that we just uploaded into Google Colab, and we're going to try to present it and put it within a data frame so that we can visually look at it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is putting a variable name and putting this file that we uploaded into quotes. So whatever file you choose, I'm choosing this one, heart disease, UCI.csv, which is just something I called it. And then now you're going to be reading the CSV file with pandas. So I usually just call it read df. And the thing is, you're going to be noticing anytime you deal with a file and you need to bring it in, this is what I'm doing now is something you're going to be doing very, very, very often. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is it's going to be something you guys are going to be doing, quite frequently. Okay, so read file, and then you're going to type in pd.read csv, and then put your file in there. Okay, and then this file is just referenced to this variable name. And then obviously, if you want to, you could put comments there. So you could put like, it's the file name, and then this is the reading the file. And then now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing the file within the data frame. And so like I said, when you come back to this, you can just you can easily see what we're going to be doing later. So placing file within the data frame. So let's just call this HDDF. So how I would read this, and I could actually put this in another comment, is heart disease data frame. So that's how I would read it. And if somebody didn't understand like HDDF, like I don't want to throw anybody off if they were to read my code. So I would try to make everything as English as possible. But I also try to find a stasis of making it to where I'm keeping it simple, but I'm also not making it too verbose. So I always try to find that good stasis, because you have people constantly looking at different pieces of code all the time. So it's always, if in order to achieve that end goal, it's always beneficial for everyone. Okay, so we're going to put this in a data frame, and we're to capitalize the D and the F. So pandas data frame, and we're going to put our reading file variable from up here within those brackets, within those parentheses. Alrighty. And then now go ahead and then just type in your variable name. And you should see this beautiful data frame. So let's go ahead and go to the bottom here. So it says here at the bottom we have 303 rows, which are the data that goes across, and then 14 columns, which columns just represent features of and then like the rows represent individual just like discrete pieces of data. So these are like, if these were people, which yeah, these are people. So this is either these are different people, and then these are the similar features that they all share. So that's what your whole data frame looks like. And if you weren't too sure about this, like about the rows and the columns, you can even type in hdf.shape, which I should have done that. When it comes to attributes, you don't actually put parentheses. It's only with the methods. So methods, like if I'm a person, so a method would be for me to eat or to run, but an attribute would be like my height or my weight. So with methods, which are your actions, you put parentheses. With attributes, like how this is, like height and weight, those are attributes and don't require parentheses. So like it says here, we have 303 rows and 14 columns. So you even put a comment here, shape of data frame. Alrighty, so next thing you can do really quickly is also find either the head, which it's pretty cool. It actually just prints out the first 5 rows of your data, or you can hit, or when I keep saying hit, you can type tail, which prints out the bottom 5 of your results, the bottom 5 from your data frame. And then if you were to put a number in here, so if I were to put in 5, or it's already 5, if I put in 10, it'll actually give me the top 10. And then if I want to if I put in 7, it'll give me the bottom 7, okay? So one thing that you should always do anytime I were to get some sort of result like this, I always want to know what I'm working with, because there's so many different methods and there's so many different attributes with all these different sort of data types. In order to save you the best time, especially when you're going to be going really deep within your code and you've been working on a project for a while, it's always for time's sake and for efficiency's sake, it's always beneficial to know what type of data you're working with. Okay, so how you can do that is you type in type, and then we're just going to put in our data frame variable, which if things go right, yep. So it shows that we have a data frame. So now we know we need to use data frame methods and data frame attributes with this variable right here. Same thing with accessing other things within the data frame. So we got HD, DF. Now let's put some square brackets, and when we put these square brackets, this is going to take in a column. So let's go ahead and just pick a column here. We'll pick cholesterol. I recognize that one. So we'll pick cholesterol. And then this should show us that we have a series, right? Yeah, awesome. All right, so a series is just another word for a column. So they're they're interchangeable. So whenever you hear series, just think column. Whenever you hear column, just think series. So because now I know what type this is, I know what to work on next. And if I got rid of type, and I just typed in this, it would give me this. It would literally just give me this entire column, the cholesterol column. Now, like I said, if I'm doing a lot of computation and I've been working on my code for a while, I might not be too sure exactly what I might be working with. So, and this is just one example, but I'm talking about in terms of like doing a lot of sort of data manipulation and working with different methods and attributes. It's helpful to know, because if you keep getting errors, then you're not really adding value. So just try to know what type of data you're working with else. So one last thing I'm going to show you is we're going to just type in the same thing, HDDF. We'll type in cholesterol, and then we'll just put another pair of square brackets, and we'll type in 5. Alrighty, so this basically is saying that our 6, because remember it starts at 0. Yeah, so our 6 person, their cholesterol is an integer. So if we were to HDDF, you get 192. So that's saying that the fifth person has a cholesterol of 192. And then when we put type around it, it just showed us that 192 is an integer. So if I were to just type this out, you know, it might show up in a way, or, you know, any sort of thing. Like, you know, I'm just trying to get you guys in the mindset of knowing of how crucial it is to know, and how time saving is to know, you know, what type of data you're working with before you start anything. So I recommend anytime you know, in the future, and I'm going to add more videos to this, and you're going to see me doing it a lot. So just, you know, get in the habit of, you know, when you look at your data set, because you're essentially, you don't just look at your data set, you have to look past the data set, and, you know, knowing what methods and attributes to use within certain outputs it's only going to benefit you. Okay, so actually, and then one thing you can do too is, instead of untitled 7, which you probably don't want to do, you can save it as like whatever you know, whatever file you want to, just to help you remember it. You could be like heart disease, or you could even do like, so if this is your first time using pandas, you can just you can call it like pandas reference, something like pandas reference or something like that. And then you just hit Control S, and then you can save your file, and then, you know, there you go, and then you can just go to it later. Okay, so I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Like I said, I just wanted to show you the basics, just importing your pandas, uploading your file and putting it in a data frame, and then just finding out the type of data you're working with. Okay, so with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and take care. Bye bye.